What is up, wrestling fans? It is time. It is the simulcast Vito TV Pro Wrestling Planet podcast here. I am your excellent friend, The Brand, along with, we usually know him as Vito, but tonight he is Ref Stevens for us, getting ready for the big show. My man, what's up? How's it going?
Ref Stevens here for Vito TV. It's going good. Like you said, we got a big show this Saturday.
Power Pit
Pro Wrestling.
Pit Pro Wrestling. Vito, Ref Stevens, if you will, very lucky to be currently working in the business.
In the biz, as they say.
In the business, and has a big show this week, so he's excited about it. Straight from Power Pit Central in Roseburg, Oregon. So,
yeah.
And Vito, buddy, we have this Dynamite to talk about for June 29th, 2022. But before we get into that,
Brand.
What's up?
Wait, what are you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say, before we get into that, there was something that happened over the weekend that was pretty big that we should probably talk about at least a little bit. Of course, we're coming off the Forbidden Door pay-per-view.
Oh, that door.
That Forbidden Door was opened, and we finally got to see it. You know, that show basically started this whole venture between you and I. Vito, my man, I mean, your instant thoughts of it. We didn't really, cover it. We wanted to do a show all on its own. That didn't happen.
Things didn't match up.
Life happens and it's fine, but let's talk about that show a little bit. Favorite match, favorite moments, so on and so on.
Well, favorite match is the match I told you was going to be the show stealer, and it was the show stealer. It was Orange Cassidy and Will Ospreay. It was amazing. It was amazing. It was even Bully Ray's favorite match. He said so on Busted Open the next day.
That match has been the talk of the town. That's pretty much unanimously, everyone was like, that was the match.
Yep.
And no one was expecting it, but you were, my man.
I spoke it into existence like we do right here on reviewing Dynamite with Ref Stevens and the Brand.
Go back and listen. We're just speaking things into existence on a weekly basis.
And it ended with one of your favorite guys coming out.
Shibata. Man. That's
no one expected that.
Yeah, no, definitely did not expect that for the life of me. And somehow the internet didn't even ruin it for me, even somehow in between then, because usually Vito, you watch this show live. I watched the show on a couple day delay. So I pretty much knew the major talking points of what had happened. I knew Moxley won the title. I knew
in a great match.
Yeah. I knew that Jay White won the other main event. But other than that, though, I really didn't come across any spoilers on my social feeds somehow.
Now, one thing I gotta say, you brought his name up, so I gotta say something
maybe
about
Ospreay, but
Jay White, the finish of that match was a little weird, but it was only weird because
the Adam
Cole, I believe, was concussed.
That's the story going around.
But it was a weird finish, but it was had to be done from what I understand.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get a weird finish when something weird happens. So, and an injury or a bad instance like a concussion it leads to a weird finish. So
you got to think on a fly, and it really put a weird stamp on what was otherwise an awesome match, I thought.
Yeah.
Man, it's hard to pick like a best man. Of course, Osprey, Orange, definitely like the favorite, but you could realistically pick almost any of these.
Hey, Bran,
What's that?
who was Brian Danielson's pick?
Claudio. We got
Oh man, Claudio.
it. We
Who
spoke,
didn't see that one coming?
we spoke that into existence as well. Of course, that was like the public, money. But then, people started talking about Gargano, and he had like the signing in Chicago that day or whatever.
Yeah.
And it seemed to all be lining up for that. But Claudio makes sense. And so do you think, I mean, we'll kind of talk about this maybe a little bit later during the show, but I get that he was the guy and everything, and that was just kind of the guy that made sense. But going forward, being a member of the BCC, do you prefer that? Or do you think, they maybe should have brought him in a little bit differently? Or
like you said a second ago, we'll definitely talk about that later in the show, but I'm going to say yes.
Right.
After what I've seen tonight.
Yeah, I was not so sure until then.
100% impressed with that match. It was good because of the two guys that were in it. I don't think Zack Sabre Jr. or Claudio Castagnoli has ever done a bad match.
Right.
But
let's talk about that match. Yeah.
That was
it was good.
Match for me. It was good.
Did you kind of think that Sabre was like, I don't know, Sabre just looked like a step ahead of Claudio. I don't know if that's the youth factor or just because his style is so different, but
it was a styles clash and AJ wasn't there. So it wasn't a good styles clash.
Right.
It wasn't the good styles clash like we would expect from a wrestler.
It was a little,
I think, I just think Zack Sabre Jr. wanted DBD and he wasn't there. You know what I mean? And that's Daniel Bryan Danielson, for those of you who don't know what DBD is.
Right. Well, a lot of Sabre stuff is like very spot oriented. It's kind of like wrestling Orange, but Osprey did his homework on how to work with Orange.
Yeah.
But they didn't really have the time or whatever, I guess, to like really for Claudio to really sink in to what would make a match work.
I think that match could have been better, but it was kind of, it wasn't bad,
right?
But it wasn't great, like it could have been.
Triple threat tag was pretty cool. FTR picking up more belts. So,
only 2 more to go, baby. All they need is the NWA tag titles and the Impact tag titles, and they got them all.
That's definitely doable. I think
they have 7. They've got Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW, AAA, Ring of Honor, and New Japan. That's 7. So they just need NWA, Crockett Cup, and TNA, and then Impact, and then they got it.
They could probably make that happen.
Oh yeah, well, Tony deals with both those guys.
Right.
They could get that done within 2 years.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Really cementing.
FTR could be the most dominant tag team in the next 2 years and hold every single major tag belt in their career within 2 years.
Huh?
I'd say go to Mexico,
and
drop
then,
those AAA belts next month. Go and then just start dropping those belts. Go over the NWA, grab those belts, go to Impact, get those belts. Bam, 9.
And then when they're done with that, they're gonna get in the DeLorean and go back and win the ECW tag team titles.
Yep, and the WCW tag team titles.
Yeah. And then go back even further to the AWA tag team titles and so on and so on. But,
and actually, on behalf of Power Pit, I know Michael let me do this. On behalf of Power Pit Pro Wrestling, I'd like to welcome FTR to come to Power Pit.
Yeah.
And we will give them a title shot for the Power Pit Pro Wrestling tag titles.
Immediate shot. You heard it here.
Yes,
Cash
right
Wheeler,
now.
Dax Harwood.
Dax Harwood. You have an open, standing shot at the Power Pit tag team titles.
Show up at the show July 2nd.
That's right.
Power Pit Performance Center, Roseburg, Oregon. Google
or
it up.
Any Saturday, any first Saturday of the month.
We'll take you anytime.
You guys, anytime.
Well, Vito, let's get into this Dynamite. Unless you have anything else about Forbidden Door.
Think
we're good, huh?
Yeah, I can't barely remember anything else. But Brandon, I do gotta say one thing. It's Wednesday night.
And you know what that means. I took your line.
That's right.
And whatever. We reverse the roles. You're going over tonight. I go over.
Let's do this.
Well, this show has the subtext Blood and Guts, so we have another special show. Was it last week, Road Rager, or was it the week before?
Yeah. No, that was the week before.
It was 2 weeks ago? Okay, well.
I love these. You love these. These special. You said you like these, right?
It gives you kind of a Clash of the Champions kind of a vibe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, WCW used to do these every once in a while.
Yeah, for sure. New Year's Evil. It was like one I could think of off the top of my head for WCW. But this show opens up with Orange Cassidy against Ethan Page. Vito,
it's good to see the best friends back together.
Yes. Best friends are back together. So I guess the Roppongi Vice deal was just for
the open door or forbidden door.
Rocky Romero, just because he's involved with New Japan and all that.
Sorry, buddy. Get lost.
Right. You're done.
Yeah.
You're out.
Kick rocks.
What's his name? I can't think of it right now.
T.
Chucky T is back. They're sporting some very sporty tie-dye jumpsuits.
He was looking real depressed on
tracksuits.
On BTE. They're having videos of him like cutting the pictures out of the shirts that they all wear. He's like cutting each guy's head out of it. All sad and depressed.
I think I may have seen that. I'm a few weeks behind on BTE though at the moment.
Yeah, and like the Dark Order guys would like walk up to him and be like, "Oh, are you sad your friends are all gone? You should come with us." Trying to get him into the Dark Order.
Yeah, I think I did see that one. Yeah.
So Chucky T is not going to be depressed anymore. That's good.
Right. The best friends are back.
Yep.
Vito, I don't like that they messed with OC's music. What do you think about the new music? What's the deal with that?
I gotta be honest, I did not catch the new music. I had to fast forward through it tonight because of ref practice.
Well, Pixie's song is gone. We have some kind of new theme song, so that was weird.
Go back and check it.
Lambert comes out, orders the ref to send the best friends away, but he still gets to be there, I guess, because he's a licensed manager. I don't think he said that, but Lambert's got a bottle of OJ. The crowd is just immediately chanting STFU and BS, once they send out the best friends. And so
I think the Dan Lambert things got tired.
I think he's really good on the mic.
Yeah. But as far as I don't know, I'm just kind of sick of him. I think he's really good on the mic, but I am kind of sick of the Dan Lambert thing.
They need to put him with somebody meaningful, I think.
I did like that he did the kicks to Orange Cassidy's head when he was outside.
Yes.
Like he did the little orange kicks. I thought that was cool. But I found it weird that he was just holding the orange juice because I guess I missed the beginning. So I thought it was where he's just holding it. I thought he was going to open it and spit it at him when he was on the floor.
Right.
But then he just held it in his hand and he did the little head kicks to him. So,
yeah,
it had its spot.
Yes, they did end up finally doing that spot. Cassidy got the orange shoes from him.
I do have a question for you. I'm a Orange Cassidy fan. Even with this match, I'm an Ethan Page fan too. I like his vlogs. They do toy hunts and stuff.
Right.
But do you think he's going to lose the pocket thing? Or do you think that's just him? You think we're ever going to lose the, and I quote, power of the pockets?
I don't see why you would want to lose it. I mean, it's over.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, people can talk, the people that don't like him, however vocal they may be, I think they're just kind of like a vocal minority sort of thing. Dude's over.
Now,
dude's money.
I don't think he should lose the pockets. I'm just wondering, sometimes people are like, oh, I'm sick of this gimmick. I want to move on. But he doesn't seem to be like that. So I'm just wondering, do you think the pockets are always going to be there? Or do you think one day he's going to grow out of the pockets?
Well, I mean, if they ever wanted to turn him heel, that's like the brilliant thing. Like, right, if he really wanted to change it up, he could be a heel and just have a completely different
like
persona.
fake to the pockets and just be like,
right, yeah. If they really wanted to do that someday, they could. But that's always going to be him. It's kind of like Scotty Too Hottie with the worm. You're never going to want to not see that. 20
He's
years.
still doing that on the indies.
Yes, 20 years from now, Orange Cassidy will be on the indies doing the pockets. You know what I mean? That's just the cycle of life.
Yeah.
That's how it works, my man. So, yeah, no disrespect to Orange Cassidy, but that's the sort, you know what I mean? Maybe not on the indies, wherever he's at the time. Still a pretty young guy. He'll be in his mid 40s, so. So yeah, overall, this match, Ethan Page just dominated it pretty much.
Yeah.
Cassidy did his stuff and got his comedy spots in, and it's, got some good, hope spots, but Ethan Page took most of the offense. Now, he wins after they do this spot with the stealing of the orange juice. He takes the drink and ends up spitting it at Lambert. So it happened like you thought, but reversed. And that leads to 2 orange punches and then a power slam. OC gets the win.
Okay. Now, here's the thing. Earlier in the match, he tried to power slam him twice, and he couldn't do it. Now, here's my question. Was it because of the shoulder that was taped, or was it because Ethan Page was too heavy? He's a thick man. Or a mixture of both.
You should be able to slam him.
Okay. Now,
I think
second problem.
So it must have been the shoulder.
Why did he take off his elbow pad to do a Superman punch?
Isn't that like a Roman thing? Isn't that
His
like the
elbow
whole
pad?
point of it? Yeah. Isn't that what Roman does?
Roman cocks his gloves.
Right. Yeah.
And AJ takes off his elbow pad to do a phenomenal forearm. I don't know why he does that.
Right.
But Orange Cassidy took off his elbow pad to do the orange punch. And he did one orange punch, and Ethan just stumbled around. And then he did another orange punch, and he stumbled around, hit it, bounced off the ropes. And then he did the big hulking power slam that he couldn't do earlier in the night twice.
Yeah.
And then that's the pin. It was so weird to me, the finish of that, because he did the power slam and Excalibur's like, there's the power slam.
Right.
It's like,
the finish was kind of flat.
It was
I see what you're going
very
with
weird.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. I just would really like to ask him why he takes his elbow pad off to do a Superman punch.
Well, maybe it's kind of like, well, the people's elbow makes sense because that was an elbow.
It's an elbow.
I
mean, is it easier to stretch your arm if you don't have an elbow pad? Maybe that's it.
More power.
Yeah, maybe it feels better to straighten your arm. I don't know. I'll have to ask him one day.
That'll have to definitely come down the
Maybe I'll tweet
pipeline.
him.
So yeah, Cassidy gets the win. Best friends come out, congratulate him. They do the camera pose thing. Everyone's happy.
Got to give the people what they want.
I wouldn't have minded Paige going over here. I mean, you kind of mentioned that too. I mean, fan of both guys, really, and
yeah,
would like to see them do something with Paige here. And but what do you think they have next for Cassidy? Because we didn't really get anything else. It just kind of ended, and it didn't lead to anything.
I don't know.
Guess.
I'm still waiting for Orange Cassidy and Danhausen to hook it up and be a tag team.
There you go. That would make sense.
I want Orange Cassidy and Danhausen because like their mixture together, their chemistry together is off the hook. So they belong together.
Well, they're the comedy guys.
Yeah.
So
they can both wrestle.
Right, but they can wrestle too. But yes, they are. Their matches are for the comedy spots as well.
Yeah,
so.
Now I don't see them winning tag titles, but they could still put on in interesting, good matches.
I mean, mainly it would consolidate their segments. That way, they both get on TV every week, and they don't have to, do two different comedy segments in a show because they don't really have time for that. There you go. That's perfect.
Hashtag Orangehausen. Can you imagine an orange with Danhausen's paint face on it?
You watch. We'll actually see that.
Are you kidding me?
Mark it here. Yep. You heard it here first, and we ain't kidding.
Nope.
Vito, next match was a Christian Cage promo. And it wasn't a match, it was a promo by Christian Cage, rather.
That led to a match.
It's been a long day, pal. Let me tell you, this day I've had doesn't even surmount.
It's okay. The promo led to a match. So.
Right. Yeah, no, it says he was asked to apologize
your excuse there.
for his remarks last week, but of course he doesn't because, that's the heel thing to do. He introduces.
Because he wants their whole family dead. Not just his dad, not just Luke Perry dad. He wants all the family, not his mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was messed up.
Yeah, it's getting heat, I guess. But, so yeah, this is pretty, we could see this coming basically a mile away. He requests a match, but not for him. And then it's Luchasaurus.
Luchasaurus looked awesome.
He comes out with he had like a black mask on, right? Instead of the green.
Yeah, it looked cool. I'm a fan of heel Luchasaurus.
So apparently, yes, that they have officially now split the team as well as Cage going heel. He squashes Serpentico here.
Yeah,
not really
the
much
lame
to
finish.
Not much to it. It's a squash match.
Did you hear Christian call the audience Motor City Sweat Hogs?
Yeah, very Rick Rude.
Yeah.
Very Rick Rude-esque, I thought.
So they called the finisher the snare trap with a nerve hold. That's what they called the finisher. And I wrote down before they said nerve hold, I wrote down shoulder grip.
Right.
and then I wrote down nerve hold, and I was like, oh, that sounds more wrestling like.
Those nerve holds will get you, man. That's like
Yeah.
that's some old school like 40s wrestling stuff right
I
there.
guess the shoulder grip doesn't sound so evil sounding, I guess.
Shoulder grip, Ric Flair drip, whatever.
Then they did something. Then they took him out of the ring and choke slammed him outside. And I can tell you, I know something about a choke slam.
Right.
It ain't
Yeah.
fun.
The post-match beatdown.
Yeah.
Serpentico is your resident jobber. We had a backstage promo, Scorpio Sky and Wardlow. Apparently it's them in a street fight for the TNT belt next week, if I wrote that down right.
Was that on Dynamite or Rampage?
I got the impression it was on the next Dynamite.
Okay, good. Because if it was on Rampage, then Wardlow would lose. But if it's on Dynamite, then the title can change hands. So that's good.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Acclaimed come out. They had a really cool diss in their rap about Danhausen being a juggalo.
Yeah, I caught that.
That made me pop. Danhausen's mystery partners are FTR. I super popped hard for this, Vito.
Yeah, he said they're wrestlers that he thought were pretty good.
You're right. Well, they do stuff. Speaking of the vlog-averse, the AEW vlog-averse, and FTR are always on Danhausen, so this made me mark out super because he's always like asking them to like do something with him.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. I guess I don't watch Danhausen's.
Yeah, no, they're hilarious, man. Most of them are. He does some just stuff where he's like opening toys and stuff I don't really care about. Yeah. But his vlogs where he's going around basically BTE style, blogs, like backstage stuff.
I think I've seen a couple of those. I haven't seen anything with FTR. I'll have to go back and watch them.
Yeah, he's done quite a few with FTR. They're always hanging out. So
all right, stuff. So we got Scissor Crew versus FTR Hausen.
Yeah, Vito, I didn't really have much put down for this besides the finish. I don't know if you have anything.
I got Dax does 6 Germans. Yeah, because they're doing stereo Germans together, and once Cash was done, Dax just kept going. And then Danhausen cursed, and the Scissor Crew got problems. Danhausen's curse is very strong. So I don't want to be on the bad side of a Danhausen curse.
It's virtually undefeated.
Yeah.
Besides Moxley.
I think besides Hook.
Oh yeah, Hook. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's who it was who blocked it.
I don't know. This match had probably one of the best finishes of the night, I think.
No,
I think, bar none, this match had the best finish because Billy Gunn chose the Acclaimed over his sons, and that is hilarious. He just sent the ass boys packing and stayed with the Acclaimed. I was like, dude, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, it all built to a Danhausen hot tag. Bowens gets up out of the chair and attacks Danhausen with the crutch, but he hits Austin Gunn instead.
Yep. All because of Danhausen's curse.
Yeah. No, so that was at least our finish on that one. So yeah, he's up, so I guess, back in action here soon, I would guess, huh? Or at least the jig's up. Or maybe they just go right back to him being in the wheelchair and he just pretends like it never happened.
I don't think so. I think, unless Danhausen's curse puts him back in the chair.
See, there you go. That's perfect. See, Vito's just, Tony Khan, you ain't even got to do any work.
I know. Come talk to me, Tony.
He's covering it.
I got you.
Next, we get Jade Cargill versus Layla Gray.
Hold on a second.
Okay, did I miss something?
First, those dummies were back there, and they made another video of them complaining about the guy they injured who hasn't come back to work yet.
Oh, right.
This is like a month and a half in. I can go back in my notes for the show and find out how many weeks in a row that they've put out a video saying, hey guy, come back to work. We're sorry we beat you up and made you go away for so long, but we really want you to come back because we want your belt. It's like, dude, I am sick of this. I really am. Joe just needs to come back, win, lose, whatever. I'm sick and tired of Jay, Sanjay, and Satnam Singh. I'll say a little more.
It's like Tony Khan this week was just like, okay, well, we need to do the same promos last week, but just faster. All right?
Yeah.
Can we do that, guys?
Yeah.
And that's what they went with. But yeah, no, good point.
Jade.
I wanted to, I was trying to forget about it, but yeah, that's why I didn't
I had to address it because I'm a little heated on it.
It went by so quick. But yeah, Jade Cargill finally comes over and wrestles, the TBS champion finally wrestles on the TBS show.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
So she's wrestling Layla Gray.
Right.
Layla Gray, I looked her up. And if you go to her Twitter, on Bully Ray would say on the Twitter machine.
This is her first AEW match, correct? First ever.
I thought she was 0-1 whenever the graphic came up. I'll have to look into that. But she wrestled on SmackDown as Kat Cardoza in a pretty good match against Raquel Gonzalez.
Just recently.
Just recently. She did pretty good, but lost to Raquel Gonzalez, the jobber for sure. But
all right.
Kat Cardoza. So,
well, this is another squash match.
Yeah.
That's what we got on this show. Is we got the Orange Cassidy match, 2 squash matches, and then right into Blood and Guts. But I can't.
Red Velvet is still gone. I just wanted to point that out. It's 2 weeks in a row now.
She's been injured or whatever, right? Legitimately, I believe.
Is she?
She was legit
injured. I have to
injured.
check into that.
She was legit injured a couple weeks ago, so that's why she hasn't been around, and that's why they did. Remember the baddie search? Apparently, Layla Gray is the new baddie because she ends up.
Well, she didn't leave with them. When I saw the match announced on Twitter, I was like, dang, that girl would make a good baddie. Like, she just looks like she would make a good baddie for them. And then at the end, she attacks Athena and Statlander, and I was like, oh, there it is. But she didn't leave with them. She stood in the ring and stared at them as they walked away. So maybe next week she'll baddie up.
I did not notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't mention the baddie search at all in the promo that they did afterwards or anything like that.
No, I think they're doing it online. I think it's
right, but they still should have mentioned it.
Yeah.
And so that completely kind of takes away my whole theory of thinking that the match was Jade jumping her in to the group kind of a thing.
Like the BCC.
Yeah, basically.
I gotta bleed with you before I fight with you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of bleeding and fighting, great segue, Vito.
There was one thing. There was a sad thing that happened in between the Jade match and the main event.
What sad thing happened? Must have missed this.
The Bucks are lonely, man.
I missed this.
The Bucks are sad and lonely.
The
Bucks have no friends. Matt and Nick Jackson have no friends.
Adam Cole's injured. Kyle's injured.
Bobby's injured. Kenny's injured. Brandon's gone. They're sitting there on the couch with their tag belts, and they're like, we have no friends. They just named all those people we talked about. They're like, it's even an intern holding the camera. Brandon's not even here. And they're like, all we have are our tag titles in each other. They're like, we have no friends in this locker room. Nobody likes us. And they're like,
man, I can't believe I missed this. It sounds great.
Yeah. It was funny. Yeah, there's like, we're lonely. We have no friends. Yeah, it was pretty sad. It was maybe a tear came out. I'm not sure. I'll have to check. I have to rewind the tape.
So call 1-800-FRIENDS for the Young Bucks.
Yeah, friends for the Bucks, man.
Wait, yeah, 1-800-SUPERKICK-FRIENDS.
Yeah.
And sign up to be a friend.
Yeah.
We're begging you.
Yeah. We need to throw the Bucks a super kick party.
Absolutely.
All right, now let's get on to some blood and some guts.
Blood and guts, Vito. Blood and guts. As
usual, Jericho's outfits are on point.
Yeah.
Just want to say that.
The top hats, once again, this time with a red, everyone's in red leather pants and red fishnet tops.
Yep. With suspenders.
Gotta have the suspenders.
Yes.
Well,
man.
So this match, I took down so much stuff here. We talked about Claudio and the BCC, like you kind of mentioned. I was optimistic, or, not so optimistic beforehand, but now after this match, definitely on board. Think he fits in.
Claudio's a sure fit.
Think he fits in pretty well.
I have a couple entrance thoughts here.
Okay.
You know me. I have a lot of thoughts about the entrance.
Right.
So Jericho's outfits were definitely on point. Sammy went straight up to the cage, walked straight out there, climbed right out. And what's funny is he said he would on his vlog. Him and Ty were sitting there or laying there for the end of the vlog. He goes, I'm going to be in the cage. And she goes, yeah. And he goes, every time I'm near anything large and tall and whatever, I climb it. And she goes, no.
Right.
He goes, yep, I'm going to climb it. So he did that.
A little bit of foreshadowing there as well.
Did you hear Regal say that Claudio was the last person he wrestled and he jumped on his head?
I did not.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. When John Moxley was going through the audience, Regal was running down his team, and he said that Claudio was the last person he wrestled, and then he jumped on his head with both of his feet. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go try to find that match.
Right. What the heck was he doing?
I don't know. I think it was one of those, where they put the feet on the forehead and then they just kind of quickly take their feet off. I think he was trying to do that thing, but I think he might have just stepped on his face.
Huh.
And then Cesaro and Eddie and Claudio.
It's gonna take a while to get used to that.
Seem to be on a good page. Oh yeah, and at the end of the show, as they're doing the whole hand raising thing, as I was getting ready to come in here, I heard JR call him Cesaro.
Oh my gosh! Of course, JR did.
That's why I was late. I had to go back in there and rewind it so I could be like, did he call him Cesaro? He did call him Cesaro. Damn you, JR. Yeah.
Every
by
time.
the way, there was no JR. The whole show, he didn't come out until Blood and Guts. Did you notice that?
Yes.
They're going to use him sparingly like The Undertaker.
I totally agree. I don't know. There's been some sort of edict backstage. I don't really know anything that anybody doesn't know, but you can kind of read between the lines.
Well, they left him off the show the whole night, let him in the main event, and before the end of the show, he fucked up.
Right.
Call him Cesaro.
Well, they did the same kind of thing at Forbidden Door, right? He only came out for like a couple matches, if I remember right.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he came out for I think the last two.
And it was weird because now I, full disclosure, I subscribe to the Observer. And when I listen back to the podcasts,
You love Uncle Dave.
I love Uncle Dave. I love Brian. I've met Brian in real life. Absolute gentleman and scholar. But anyway, that's besides the point. And when listening to them recap this show, and I was coming in and out of it, you know what I mean? And so I didn't really like listen. That's part of the reason why I didn't get like many spoilers, because I really didn't listen to much of the recap. Because just other stuff was going on. But anyway, whole point of this is that when they mentioned the fact that JR had only came out for like a couple matches, the way Uncle Dave's voice and the way he kind of like emphasized that, like something along the lines of maybe that's how they should do it going forward, because it's a lot better, or more fresher, or something along those lines. He basically, and I just made me think like, okay, well maybe they are going to scale back JR, and they do it yet again here.
They must really like Taz.
Taz is okay.
I mean, he's been a commentator off and on for a long time. Remember, him and Michael Cole did commentary on SmackDown back in the early 2000s.
Taz has that heel commentator vibe that I like.
Yeah.
I could get on board with that. Of course, a lot of the time you hear like especially like, because I don't watch AEW Dark, which he does, right? With him and Excalibur.
Yeah.
But those clips are always on Botchamania all the time, where they're just like goofing off on commentary the whole time, basically. Have you ever seen those?
No, I haven't watched Botchamania in a long time.
Got to do it. Got to keep up on the Botchamania.
I do love Botchamania.
So yeah, no, this match, blood and guts, Vito. Starts with,
I like that Eddie and Claudio started off like homies, fist bumping.
Right.
Because he wanted to kill him on Saturday or Sunday at whatever it was.
They just kind of blow off that whole angle that they've been like doing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Eddie's been like playing up that angle for years.
Yeah.
And they just like squash it. I don't know.
Yeah. For the match.
I thought that was kind of weak, but anyway, yeah, maybe they'll come back to it. But anyway, it starts with Claudio and Sammy. They botched a spot on the rope early on. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
There was some kind of weird,
like a throw over. It's like he tried to throw him over his head, and Sammy didn't go for the right move or whatever. Kind of just bounced off his head in the ropes. Yeah, but it after that botch right there, it was stiff, man.
Oh, for sure.
That was the next 3 minutes were so stiff. I wrote stiff on stiff right here in my notes. It was nuts.
This match overall it was your typical, well, I don't want to say typical. It was your traditional, don't want to say war games, but your traditional setup and psychology.
I'm gonna have to beep that on mine. I'm just kidding.
You're right. No, but
Sammy, did you catch that rope jump that he did, where he bounced like 4 ropes?
Well, Sammy's just gonna do that shit, that stuff.
Yeah, Sammy's
anyway.
gonna Sammy. Yeah.
But they follow the traditional format. Jericho Society gets the advantage in the match. The heels get the advantage.
Garcia comes in while Sammy's getting swung.
Right.
He gets hit.
Garcia comes in, gives them the 2-on-1 advantage. Claudio turns the tide, does a double suplex on the guys. Gets back in trouble while they go to the break. They return just in time for Yuta's entrance, so he evens the odds up.
Comes in and Germans everybody.
Yeah.
He is so over. Yuta's so over. Everyone loves him.
Over by association. You know what I mean? But I guess whatever works, right? I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I think
Pure Ring of Honor champion.
He's ascended so far so quickly. Yes, absolutely. You look at him as, on the same level as all these guys. So of course, and that's weird how that works, even more than like you know what I mean? Because they've grouped guys with other guys before. You look at the Jericho groups, right?
Mm-hmm.
You look at, I don't want to say, some of the other groups, but especially I think of like Jericho's two groups. Maybe he's more over by association than any of those guys. You want to talk about a guy like a Sammy. I think he's already, do you think he's already ascended past like Sammy level over?
Wheeler Yuta?
Yeah.
No.
You don't think so?
No way. No, Sammy Guevara is a megastar who just hasn't been over like he's a megastar who hasn't gone to world title level yet. Sammy Guevara has had a following before he got to AEW and is like a 2 or 3 time TNT champion. He's now been in 2 stables. I mean, both are with Chris Jericho. He's had great storylines, great feuds. Wheeler Yu's got a long way to be Sammy Guevara.
I guess they're not really the same thing, because you got a heel and a face.
Yeah, as far as Sammy Guevara and AEW goes, Sammy Guevara is he's one of the top guys easily.
Is he considered one of the pillars? When they talk about the 4 pillars?
Yeah. Yeah, it's him, Darby.
That makes sense.
MJF and Britt Baker.
Really? Britt Baker?
Jungle Boy. Sorry. Jungle Boy is the other one.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, that was a CM Punk joke that he did.
Well, Claudio and Yuta take over just in time for Hager to come in and give Jericho the advantage again. So
as soon as he came in, I was like, wait a minute. And then he looked across and I was like, oh, we the people. Right. And then when he got to the other side, they started the We the People chant. I was like, yeah, we the people.
I made eye contact with Hager when I was at Access. It was super weird.
I was going to say, was he creeped out by it?
I don't know if he was creeped out. I was waiting in line to get into the area where they were doing the autograph signings. And they had some press people pulled them out of there to do a quick radio interview or something. Yeah. And so he's sitting there talking, cutting a promo on the radio. And I'm standing there staring at him, because I'm in line.
You
I'm just
weirdo.
There's Swagger cutting this radio promo, I don't know. I was just looking at him. And he looked right at me. We made eye contact and it was super weird. And I was just got spooked for us. You know what I mean? You do that kind of a
You're
thing. Yeah. But anyway, where was I at here?
We the people.
Yeah. Hager comes in, gives him the advantage. Then Mox comes in, evens it up. He runs wild on everyone like Hulkamania.
He just throws a chair right at Hager's face.
Right.
See, the things I wrote down are what people did as soon as they came in.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
and there's a BCC beatdown.
Right. And then Moxley digs into Garcia's head with a fork.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we get some brutality going on. He busts open. Then the other guy, what's his name?
Angelo Parker.
Angelo, yes. He comes in. Jericho's team gets the advantage again. So that's how these matches work. You know, the heels take over. It's back and forth.
Angelo Parker ran, as Regal put it, like a scared bunny until Claudio caught him up.
Right. Yeah, he definitely seems like the weak link in the group. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Ortiz comes in and evens it up. He runs wild on everyone.
He came in and Angelo was holding the door, and Ortiz came in through Parker and squashed him into the cage with the cage door.
Right, yeah. He was trying to shut him out or whatever.
Yeah, trying to keep him out.
Right. Now, Moxley gets the thumbtacks, broken glass out.
I missed that spot. I missed the broken glass.
It happened during the cut-in. During the picture
During the
in picture. Yeah, during the picture in picture.
Yeah, that Matt Menard coming in happened through the pip too.
Yeah.
And I fast forwarded all the pips so I can save time, and I still came in after 10 o'clock.
You know, I imagine it was probably a headache trying to like add time this kind of a match since it ran the hour, you know.
Yeah.
Really hard getting the cues out. Now, you mentioned how Moxley came in with the chair. I put down here how the Jericho appreciators are not trying hard enough because they weren't using any weapons. Like, no one came in with any weapons. It's all the baby faces using the weapons so far, you know. It's Moxley, which it's great, but it's like, but he's the baby face, so it's just like,
yeah,
you know, kind of like psychologically weird, but it's fine. I'm not going to
nitpick.
I
think it's because they're the faces, but they're also the ruthless bastards. And they're taking their revenge / aggression out on the heels. So it's their time to use the weapons.
It is a unique dynamic, that group. Yeah. That's for sure. They're all kind of wild cards. So
because the BCC aren't 100% faces. I mean, I wouldn't even... Bryan Danielson straight up said that he came out the bad guy tunnel.
Right.
Last week. So
they're tweeners per se, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, either way, yeah. So they do the glass. You know, as soon as I say that, then Menard comes in with a chair. He's finally the first smart guy to actually come in with the weapon.
During Pip, right?
I guess it was during the picture in picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, he was the first heel to actually come in with a weapon. At least that I could remember anyway.
He's funny. That dude's funny.
He's got something. I don't know quite what it is. He's got the look of he's got a star look, I think.
And he's got the voice too. He's been on BTE a couple times. He was a BTE champion for a while.
His expressions, yes.
He challenged Renee Paquette to a BTE title match when he was a BTE champion.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess she walked by him at one of the shows because she was there with Mox, and he's like, "You didn't even look at me." You know? I can't do his voice. That actually sounded Irish. He's not Irish.
The only legit shoot title in wrestling.
The only legit shoot title. Well, there's a Sammy vlog belt, but and -1's the champion. He won it in a free throw contest. But Yeah, Matt Menard, he's golden, man. He's got a future ahead of him when he gets out of tag team or whatever. He's funny. Now,
Absolutely.
Santana is the
Absolutely.
next thing we need to discuss.
I agree with that 100%. Well, before we get there, I got a couple more things. Crowd starts demanding tables. Yuta hits the weakest chair shot in the history of chair shots to Garcia while he was on the rope. I don't know if you caught that, but
I don't know. I didn't see
it
that.
was a total Hogan chair shot. It was terrible. But then Santana enters with the table that everyone wanted and a barbed wire bat.
Yes.
Moxley does another fork spot and then a skewer spot on Menard's head where he drives in some wooden skewers.
Before that, Santana does, I don't remember what move it was. I didn't want to rewind it, but he does some kind of move and I think tweaks his leg because Santana lays on the other side of the cage for the whole match.
Really? You know,
Santana wasn't in the match at all.
Okay. You know, I thought something weird like that was going on possibly. I thought he just botched it, but then he was like kind of selling like he had hurt himself. So
I'm going to have to go back and watch what move did it. But
we'll have to figure that out.
Santana was not in the match at all. So,
well, then we finally
just more injuries.
Yeah, unfortunately, the injury bug is ravaged the locker room at this point. Jericho enters with his bat, drops it after one hit, and then Ortiz starts whooping his ass, and Claudio gets some shine time until Jericho hits the code breaker on him, and Kingston then enters with a kendo stick. And then they had this bottle of rubbing alcohol. What the hell was the deal with the rubbing alcohol? They never paid this off. Nothing happened.
First of all, when Kingston came in with the kendo stick, the first two people he hit with the kendo stick were just like little love taps. Did you catch that? He's like, whooping, whooping. And then he comes through and he's trying to get to Jericho. And then the next two guys he hits, he just like waylays into him. He like hits him like he's beating him for, I'm not going to go into that, but he just hits him so many times that they just fall down eventually. But the first two guys, he just little pings them. He's like, oh, you're done. You're done. And then he walks away. It's so weird.
I wonder. Well, it'll be interesting to see what sequence that was in, because like maybe he was easier on, I don't know, maybe he was easier on like Hager and, you know, someone else, but then like the other dudes he could lay into.
I'll have to go back and watch it. I'm going to go back and watch that match. There's definitely parts of that match that were lost on me.
Including the bottle of rubbing alcohol.
Okay, so the bottle of rubbing alcohol was brought in by Kingston. And I think he was going to use it to light Jericho on fire.
Right. But then like he drops it because he gets attacked. And then the next thing we see is Tay Conte squeezing a bottle. I don't know if it was a different bottle or the same bottle. She's like squeezing it through the cage into Jericho. Breaking. And it was like, it was all squeezing out and like leaking everywhere. So I guess they just abandoned the plan since they lost all the alcohol.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
What they were supposed to do there.
I don't know. I think he was going to wizard him again.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean,
I don't know. But after that, he just laid there and he crawled along that side of the cage for a while. Then eventually he just showed up on the other side. I thought he was just going to stay there, but. I don't know.
Hager takes the table spot. It was cool. They had it set up in between the rings. I thought that was a nice touch. In that, you know, between the ropes area. Then we get tacks and light bulb. I think they said that it was all tacks, but I think there were some light bulb pieces or something in there. whatever that second bag was, I think it was different than just tax.
There was a lot of tax came out of one of those bags.
Right.
A lot of tax, like more tax than I've seen. There was a lot of tax in that one bag.
They tear up the mat in one of the rings. That doesn't lead to anything either.
Yeah.
I thought someone would at least take a bump on the wood, but they just, for no reason.
Well, once they go on top the cage, the whole inside, I kept looking down there when the camera panned down. They just laid there. People were just laying there.
Right. Everyone just sold their, I was beginning to think that, like, yeah, okay, well, what is everyone else doing right now? They didn't, we'll get to that.
I kept looking every time the camera went down there. They were just laying there.
Jericho and Kingston finally brawl. But we didn't get the payoff we wanted right away. Eddie walks right into Jericho's fire extinguisher.
Oh, it was weird.
Right. He starts doing it, and then Eddie just was like, oh crap, and then walks into it because he wasn't close enough.
He almost dove into it. It was
a fire extinguisher. Let me run it. Like he ran through it like it was a sprinkler. Almost.
Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, I gotta go get Jericho. Yeah. Oh yeah, he's got a fire extinguisher. It's like, geez.
And then we get to the top of the cage. We get Jericho and Kingston, top of the cage. Sammy gets up there too. And then what happens, Vito?
Okay. I don't know if you heard this, but did you hear, I think it was Kingston asking if they're on a break. Are we on a break? Did you hear that?
I did not. No.
Yeah.
Really?
Are we on break? Are we on break? And then they're all looking down. Sammy's looking down. I think they're looking for a cue.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard it and I'm like, again. Yeah, I'm going to go back and rewind it. I have to believe that Tony Khan. Yeah. I have to believe that Tony Khan was not very happy with this match. There was some issues.
Especially at the end.
Yeah.
The end was kind of a disaster, but.
Sammy took the Big O. He took the big O bump.
Sammy takes the bump.
After the nut shot.
Onto the super safe table box contraption ringside, which is great. That way you get the visual, but you don't, it's not Mick Foley, almost getting killed sort of a thing, right?
Yeah.
So you get
it was the table, but it had an airbag.
Right. So I'm totally cool with that. Not complaining. Yeah. What I'm not cool with, Vito, is the camera people getting an absolute ball sack shot of the fall. They completely botched the shot. You notice that?
Really?
Yes. They cut, they got to it too late. They show Sammy getting thrown, and then by the time they cut to the floor camera, it was just a second late. Or it was right at impact. So you saw the impact, right? But I would have loved to have seen another angle of the actual, you know what I mean? The actual fall angle.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But
we can always trust Sammy to take that Shane McMahon spot though.
Oh, we knew it was going to happen. Like you were saying, him going on the cage. And I knew that was foreshadowing when he climbed the cage that something was going to go down with that. So then they go to another commercial. So apparently this is what they were waiting on, this commercial break, because there were two right on top of each other. I remember it made my son really mad because he was like, they just went to a commercial. And I was like, yeah, well, that just is what it is. And then they had the picture-in-picture going, but then they halfway through the commercial break, they ended it, which was weird. Jericho does the walls on Eddie on top of the cage. Claudio makes the save, does the swing on Jericho. That looked awesome. Menard gets up there to even it up. Cesaro gets Menard to tap to a sharpshooter While Eddie has his move on Jericho, he was kind of mad that he didn't get the win. But it seems like they kind of had to rush to that finish.
Yeah.
That was blood and guts.
It got it was I've always wondered, I'm just gonna say Hell in a Cell match. Can a Hell in a Cell match end on top of a cell? Apparently a blood and guts match can end on top of a cage, so we still have hope for Vince's match winning on a cell.
You know, it would be interesting to go back and see the exact rules as they had wrote them before the match. I don't think the rules specified that it had, you know, the submit or surrender
on the mat.
Right, that it had to be actually within the confines of the ring.
Yeah.
Maybe not, though. I don't know. Either way, that's what happened. Baby faces go over.
So, Bran, first of all, I want to ask you what on a 1 to 5, would you give Forbidden Door?
Whew. Well, Forbidden Door as a show, I think definitely deserves at least it's probably in the 4.25, 4.5 territory for sure. It's pretty damn close to perfect, I would say. A few things that knock it down, but you're not going to get a better show really wall to wall, as far as work rate goes.
Yeah, I would say
what about you?
There's a couple small things. Yeah, I would say a solid 4 or 5.
Right.
4 or 5. Which leads us to tonight.
Dude, tonight's show was not that good overall, I would say. Like, the match was fun. The match was fun, but there was some, there was some weird stuff. There was some psychological stuff I didn't really like, psychology-wise, which I think kind of brought it down. But overall, it was a fun match. But then all we got other than that was 2 squash matches. And then, the Cassidy match.
Orange Cassidy, yeah.
Which there wasn't, much to that. So, yeah, if I'm going to say.
Well, we got Scissor Crew and FTR.
That's right, the 6-man.
Yeah.
So, if I'm going to stamp a star rating on this show, it's probably more in the 2.75.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's too low.
No, I was going to give it a 3.
I enjoyed it.
Mr. AEW Ref Stevens is going to give this a 3. I don't think I've ever given a Dynamite a 3-star. So
3 is fine. 3 is fair.
You heard it right here. Blood and Guts. Vito's giving it a 3. Ref Stevens is giving it a 3. I got the stripes on.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things where we're just not gonna get a whole lot of stuff because half the show was the blood and guts match.
And it was messy.
It was messy.
And I'm not talking about color messy. I'm talking about it was messy.
It was, and that's a good point too, though, because if you're not a fan of that sort of style, if you don't really like the blood stuff and spots and all that, then you're gonna hate that match, and it just took up so much.
There weren't even very good spots, and I usually don't say things against AEW because I'm an AEW fan. But every NXT War Games has killed this blood and guts.
Yeah.
There has not been an NXT War Games that have not just dropped my jaw.
Right. This was pretty basic.
Yeah.
When you look at it
this
as a
was
whole.
just a brawl fest. But as far as spots go, there's not very many. You know what I mean?
Moxley did his, Nick Gage stuff, and and there was the big spot off the top. Other than that, though, It wasn't anything that you had never seen before, I think is kind of the problem.
It definitely wasn't War Games. It was Blood and Guts. It was what it's called, honestly. I should not expect War Games from it. So it is what it is. It was a good show. Solid 3-star.
But if we're going to be honest, though, I mean, Blood and Guts is essentially it's War Games with more weapons. You know, there's an emphasis on weapons, right? I mean,
yeah.
Just call it what it is. Now, there being a top on the cage is different, right? So there is that element.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Right.
You're right. War Games doesn't have a top.
Right. There's no top to the cage, so that's a little bit different.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is different.
So, you know, there is slight differences, but the psychology of the match, like I said, your basic War Game style match with the heels having the advantage through the whole thing. We've seen that before. We've seen all these spots before. There was no spot that was really like overly special.
No.
And not to say I'm not taking anything away because those guys, you know, worked their asses off to do even what it was. So maybe that's not fair to say.
Did his thing.
John Moxley.
John Moxley.
There it is. All right, Vito, let's wrap this up here. We'll be back next week. Vito, where can we find you at? Plug some stuff.
Vito
before
TV.
We get out.
You can find me at Vito TV and this Saturday at the Power Pit Performance Center in Roseburg, Oregon.
That's right.
Tickets are $15, I think. You can buy them at the door. Bell time is
Tickets
6
will cost
o'clock.
your soul.
Bell time is 6 o'clock. You can find it on Power Pit Pro Wrestling. We're on, I think, Facebook. I think we even got a TikTok. So they got a YouTube. Just look up Power Pit Pro Wrestling on YouTube.
We'll give you some links in the description if you're watching this on YouTube.
There'll be links.
Yes. Not the Zelda link.
No.
Not a link like the sausage link.
Not a link to the past. Not a link with your eggs.
Yes, but a link to the Power Pit. So
link to Power Pit. So
Vito, as always, a pleasure, my man.
Always a pleasure.
We will link up next week. Give me some Wolfpack and we'll get out.
Too sweet me, bro.
Woo, too sweeted. We'll be your friends, Young Bucks.